Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
You know, life has this strange way of breaking us in places we didn't even know could ache. Sometimes it's a betrayal. Sometimes it's the silence after someone walks away. And sometimes it's waking up one morning, realizing that the person staring back at you in the mirror doesn't even feel like you anymore. But here's what I've learned. And it's not just theory. It's through scraped knees, messy crying, and standing back up again, being unbroken. Doesn't mean you've never been shattered. It means you've learned to build yourself back, piece by piece, heart first. You know, when I talk about brokenness, people often flinch a little. They look down, cross their arms, or take a deep breath like I just said something uncomfortable. And I get it. We live in a world that glorifies the perfect. The filtered, the polished, the never falling apart version of life. We've been taught that to be broken means you've failed, that something in you is permanently damaged. But that's not true. Brokenness isn't a sign that you've lost. It's a sign that you tried. It's proof that you cared enough to risk being hurt. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a woman after one of my talks. She came up to me with tears in her eyes and said, "Brene, I don't even recognize myself anymore. I used to be so strong, now I just feel broken." I looked at her and said, "Maybe that's what strength actually looks like." She just blinked at me, and I could see she didn't understand yet. But here's what I meant. When life brings you to your knees, and you still wake up the next morning and try again, that's strength. When you've been betrayed, when you've lost something irreplaceable, when your heart has been cracked open, and you still choose to love, that's courage. We're all walking mosaics of our experiences. Some pieces are bright and beautiful, others dark and jagged. But together, they tell a story that is far more powerful than perfection ever could. Your scars, emotional or otherwise, aren't there to remind you of your pain. They're reminders that you survived it, that you made it through nights you thought would never end, that you've been tested and you're still here. And I want you to hear this: being broken doesn't disqualify you from love, from joy, from purpose. It prepares you for it. Because people who have been broken don't just see the world differently, they feel it differently. They have empathy in their bones. They love with depth. They listen with presence. They forgive with understanding. We live in a culture that tries to hide pain, to cover it up with productivity or smiles. But what if we started to see our brokenness as evidence of a life fully lived? What if we stopped saying, "I'm fine," when what we really mean is, "I'm trying, and that's enough"? So, if your heart has been shattered, if your plans have fallen apart, if you've cried yourself to sleep more times than you can count, please don't think that makes you weak. It makes you real. It makes you human. It makes you someone who dared to love, dared to believe, dared to live. Being unbroken doesn't mean nothing ever hurt you. It means that even after the breaking, you didn't give up on your story. You kept showing up, maybe limping, maybe bleeding a little, but showing up nonetheless. And that is what makes you unbroken. I used to believe that healing meant getting over it. You know, that one day you just wake up and poof, the pain would be gone. You'd be lighter, freer, untouched by what happened. But that's not how real healing works. Real healing isn't neat. It's not clean. It's not a straight line from broken to whole. It's messy. It's slow. It's uncomfortable. And most days, it feels like you're walking through fog, unsure if you're even moving forward. We live in a world that glorifies moving on. People tell you, just let it go, stay positive, don't dwell on it. But here's the truth. You can't let go of something you never allowed yourself to hold. You can't release pain you've never faced. You can't move through grief you keep pretending doesn't exist. Healing begins the moment you stop running from what hurts. It starts when you finally say, "Okay, I'm gonna sit with this. I'm gonna feel this. I'm not gonna numb it or hide it anymore." That moment, when you stop numbing and start feeling, that's where courage begins. And listen, I know it's terrifying. It's terrifying to open a wound you've worked so hard to seal shut. It's terrifying to face memories you've buried because they're too heavy to carry. But here's what I've learned from years of research and from my own heartbreaks. You either feel your pain now, or you spend your life running from it later. Pain demands to be felt. It will wait for you. It will find a way to whisper through your body, through your relationships, through your restlessness, until you finally turn around and say, I'm ready to listen. If feeling isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the body's way of saying, this mattered. This changed me. Don't ignore it. And when you give yourself permission to feel it, to really feel it, something incredible happens. You start to release it. You start to see that the sadness isn't endless. You realize that anger can soften into understanding, that tears can wash away shame, that grief, when honored, becomes grace. I remember a time in my own life when I tried to skip this part, the feeling part. I thought I could outwork my pain, outtalk it, outachieve it. But all I was doing was avoiding the truth. And the truth was I was scared to admit how much it hurt, scared to be that vulnerable, scared to not be in control. But the moment I finally let myself cry, really cry, it was like the dam broke. And in that breaking, I didn't fall apart, I opened up. I didn't lose control, I found peace. So if you're in a season right now where you're trying to hold it all together, please hear me. You don't have to rush your healing. You don't have to pretend you're fine. You don't have to prove your strength by hiding your tears, because you can't heal what you won't feel. And sometimes, the bravest thing you'll ever do is stop pretending it doesn't hurt. Sit with your pain. Listen to what it's trying to tell you. Because when you feel it fully, you begin to free yourself from it. And that's where real healing, honest, deep, lasting healing, begins. We live in a culture that confuses strength with hardness. It tells us that the person who never cries, never falters, never admits fear is the strongest person in the room. And for a long time, I bought into that lie. I thought being strong meant being untouchable, that it meant armor, walls, toughness, and a perfect poker face. But the truth I've discovered, the truth I've seen over and over in the lives of people who've endured unimaginable hardships, is that real strength isn't hard. Real strength is soft. Real strength is tender. Real strength is the courage to remain open when the world has shown you its worst. Think about the people you admire most. I bet they're not the ones who walked through life unscathed. I bet they're the ones whose hearts were broken, whose dreams were crushed, whose trust was betrayed. And yet, somehow they stayed soft. Somehow they kept believing in love when they had every reason not to. Somehow they continued to care, to listen, to give. That is strength. Let me share a story. I once met a man who had lost everything he thought defined him, his job, his family, relationships, even his health. You would expect him to walk around bitter, hardened, angry. But when I sat with him, I felt something else entirely. I felt tenderness. I felt empathy. He told me, I could have turned my bitterness into armor. I could have shut down, but I realized I'd rather be broken open than closed off. That's courage, my friends. That's what it means to be unbroken. Strength is not about surviving without scars. Strength is about letting those scars teach you something. Strength is about keeping your heart open when it would be easier to turn stone. Strength is about saying, yes, life has hurt me, but it will not make me bitter. It will make me better. The strongest people I know, truly strong people, are not immune to pain. They cry, they hurt, they stumble, they fail. But then they rise. They rise soft, not hard. They rise tender, not cold. They rise with compassion, not judgment. They rise knowing that softness is not weakness, it is the essence of humanity. And here's the beautiful, almost revolutionary thing: when you choose softness, you inspire it in others. When you choose to stay open despite the hurt, you show the world a different kind of strength, a strength that heals, that connects, that transforms. So the next time you feel the world press down on you, the next time someone tries to break you, remember this: you don't have to armor yourself to survive. You don't have to harden your heart to be strong. Real strength, the kind that lasts, is the kind that allows life to touch you deeply and then lets you rise anyway. That is the strength of the unbroken. That is the courage of the human heart that refuses to be hardened, that refuses to hate, that refuses to stop loving even when it hurts. And that, my friends, is the most powerful kind of strength there is. There are moments in life when it feels like your story is already written for you. When the chapter you're living feels like it's just about survival, and the ending seems predetermined. You wake up, go through the motions, and sometimes it feels like nothing you do matters. Like the pages of your life are stuck, and the pen isn't even in your hand anymore. But here's the truth I've learned, and it's the same truth I see over and over again in the people who refuse to be defeated. Your story is never finished. It's not done. In fact, the chapters you're living right now, the messy, painful, confusing chapters, are often the ones that are rewriting your entire narrative in ways you can't yet see. Life has a way of breaking us open to show us what's possible. The things that feel like endings are sometimes beginnings we didn't know we were ready for. Think about it. Every story of resilience, every tale of someone coming back stronger, started in a place of uncertainty and fear. They didn't know how it would turn out, and they couldn't see the beauty that was waiting for them just beyond the pain. I remember a woman I spoke with a few years ago. She had lost her marriage, her job, and her sense of self all in the same year. She said to me, "I don't know who I am anymore. I don't even know if there's a point to keep going." And I told her, maybe the point isn't to stay the person you were, but to become someone you never imagined you could be. And that is what happens when your story is rewritten. It's not about the life you lost, it's about the life you're becoming. Your story is being rewritten every day in small, almost invisible ways. Every choice you make, every time you stand up when you could have stayed down, every moment you show compassion, even when it's hard, is ink on the page of a new chapter. And sometimes, these new chapters are not the ones anyone expected. Sometimes, they're even better than the ones you thought you had lost. Unbroken people understand this. They understand that life's twists, turns, and betrayals are not detours, they are plot points. They are opportunities to discover strength, resilience, and depth you never knew existed. They know that the greatest power doesn't lie in avoiding hardship, it lies in what you do with the hardship. So if you feel stuck today, if you feel like your story has ended before it even began, I want you to remember this: your story is still being written. You are not finished. You are not defined by yesterday's pain, by someone else's judgment, or by the fear that whispers in your ear. You are becoming. And becoming is messy. Becoming is beautiful. Becoming is unbreakable. Every moment you choose to rise, to try again, to love, to forgive, to dream, your story is being rewritten. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the chapters you once thought were endings were actually the turning points that made you unbroken. Being unbroken doesn't mean life hasn't hit you. It doesn't mean you haven't been bruised, betrayed, disappointed, or left breathless by circumstance. Being unbroken doesn't mean you've escaped loss, grief, or the moments that make your chest ache so deeply you feel like you might never breathe again. No. Being unbroken means that despite all of that, you refuse to let the world defeat you. You refuse to let your pain write the final chapter of your story. You get up. And again. And again. I want you to picture this: a woman who has lost everything she thought gave her life meaning. Her marriage, her career, her sense of safety. She could curl up, retreat into herself, and let the world write her story for her. And maybe for a time she does. But then something shifts. She wakes up one morning and decides she will not let her circumstances define her. She decides she is more than the pain, more than the betrayal, more than the losses she's endured. That is what being unbroken looks like. It is choosing to rise when every part of you is screaming that it's too hard. Being unbroken is not about perfection. It's not about always having it together. It's about persistence. It's about showing up even when no one is watching. It's about facing your fears, your doubts, your shame, your grief, and saying, "I will not let this defeat me." It's about continuing to believe in love after heartbreak, to continue to hope after disappointment, to continue to dream after failure. I remember speaking with a man who had faced unimaginable loss. His business collapsed. His health failed, and he was estranged from the people he loved most. And yet, when he spoke, there was a fire in his eyes. He said, "I could have let all of that break me. But I realized that being unbroken isn't about avoiding the fall. It's about getting back up and walking toward life anyway." That, my friends, is what it means to be unbroken. And the beauty of it is this: every time you rise, no matter how small the step, you are proving something profound, not to the world, but to yourself. You are proving that your spirit is bigger than your struggles, that your heart is stronger than your pain, that your courage is deeper than your fear. So if you are sitting here today, feeling the weight of life pressing down on you, know this: being unbroken is a choice you make every single day. A choice to continue, a choice to persevere, a choice to refuse to let the past define your future. You might bend, you might stumble, you might even fall, but the unbroken rise. They rise because they have seen the darkness and decided that their light will shine anyway. And one day, when you look back at all that you've endured, you will see that nothing was wasted. Every heartbreak, every setback, every tear. These were the moments that forged your resilience, that built your courage, and that shaped the unbroken spirit within you. Being unbroken is not about never being hurt. It's about refusing to be defeated. It's about living fully, loving deeply, and rising relentlessly. And that is your power. That is your victory. That is who you are. You are unbroken. Always have been, always will be. So tonight, let's stop waiting to be perfect before we show up. Let's stop hiding our cracks like shameful secrets. Because maybe, just maybe, the light gets in through the places we once called broken. Maybe being unbroken isn't about never breaking again. Maybe it's about learning how to shine anyway.